I look at agriculture as also the one activity which can create a lot of jobs. Frankly, mining does not create jobs. You told me that you employ up to 70,000 people to build that refinery and stuff. I think there is a port need to be built, and there is power.
So many infrastructure
also things. But these are not operational employment. This will be employed during the construction.
Period of construction.
But when you operate,
but you develop a lot of skills.
Yes, but when you operate, there will be only a couple of thousand or 3,000, something like that.
Yes, but you know the indirect employment is there also.
Fine.
Yeah.
But
agriculture
generates huge amount of jobs.
Much more.
That's why I'm interested in agriculture. Tell me, what exactly are you doing in agriculture?
Thank you, Mo. Well, what we are doing in agriculture, we are building 1 million tons rice, parboiling and processing with power generation, also attached to them. And with this, what we are doing is that we are giving the farmers, seeds, apart from seeds with implements, and then, when they finish the harvest, we buy this. But they have a choice also, so that we don't really hold them to ransom. They have a choice of selling to anybody who will offer
so
more.
So although we give them the seeds and the fertilizers,
give them the seeds, and the implements, if they need any additional money, we have a backup by our central bank to lend them money, as a group.
Enable them to
enable them, yes. Because in those areas, it is very difficult for them to go and mortgage their houses and borrow money.
Monetize.
So they can easily borrow money under soft terms. Somebody is not going to ask you to bring your grandmother's certificate of birth, which you normally don't have.
Okay, and but those people, when they finish, they sell you the rice, and you are committed to be competitive.
Well, committed.
It's not because I lend you money, you must give it to me cheap.
No. What we have agreed with them is that if my price is not right, they should give to somebody, but they should come back and pay me my money.
You pay your debt, of course.
Yes.
That's the debt.
So that's what we have. But you see, you can imagine how many jobs we are going to create.
How many people are going to work on this?
Both that one and the sugar in the next 4 years, we're actually creating about 150,000 jobs.
150,000
jobs, yes.
Interesting. I mean, this one area where
But you can see the impact. We are not going to create that much jobs in the refinery, which is 12 billion.
Yeah.
But this one is just less than 2 billion, but you can see the amount of jobs. Created. And yes, if we really in Africa want to create jobs, prosperity, and also, somebody was telling me that, yes, there's a great GDP growth here in Côte d'Ivoire, but it's not trickling down. Just like us, also in Nigeria, when you look at it, even when we're having 7-8% of GDP growth, down there, they hardly see anything.
The trickles through is not happening.
It is trickling, but slowly.
Not serious.
Not serious. Yeah. So the only way to have these things to trickle fast enough is through agriculture, where now, and that's why we have a greater advantage. I mean, you have a ready market, which is the difficulty of a lot of continents, but we have a market because the African continent imports more goods than any other continent. So what we need to do is to make sure that we transform our own goods. And it is very, very important more. Let me give you an example. Today, between Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire, they actually produce 2/3 of the world's cocoa.
Yeah.
Okay? But the total amount of these exports that they have is about $6 billion. Okay, but the chocolate market is 100 billion.
Yeah. Yes.
So you can see that, they are just working for other people.
Yeah. The problem is how to create African brands.
We need to do that. Even if it's not African brands, they should
brand.
That's right. They should actually have some of these factories here.
Yeah. But you need to create a brand in order to sell it, Marks and Spencer and markets everywhere.
The brand creation, Mo, is not really that difficult. The only thing that you have to be sure of is that your quality is right and your pricing is right.
Yeah.
Once you have that, nobody looks at where it is manufactured.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because most of the shoes you buy in Italy, they are not manufactured in Italy, especially in the U.S.
Is it U.S.?
Yeah,
I thought U.S. has stopped manufacturing everything. They say China does everything now.
Well,
they
China
still
produces
shoes in America?
Yeah, they do all that, but you know, right now, your friend is trying to drag all the industries to go to America.
Right. I mean, that's very interesting. Let us move also to, although the point of agriculture, I hope it registered. And that's a very important area because first, we are not really using all the lands we have. We have huge amount of arable land which is not being used.
60% of the world's arable land.
And we're not using that. Then even the land we are using, we have the lowest productivity in the world. And there is a huge upside there if we improve that productivity. So this is an area people need to look at very carefully.
We'll change that though more before you go on to your next decision. You know, the rice, before in Nigeria, we used to do only one crop per annum. Now we do 2 crops, and they used to get about 1 to 2 tons per hectare. Now we have varieties that we imported that are giving us up to 8 tons per hectare. So once you have this, you know, it will help the farmers.
Techniques
it will help a lot of people to now realize that, look, farming is not a poor man's business. It can actually get rich faster in farming than doing something else. I mean, you look at it, today we also have fertilizer, which we used to import a lot. Okay, this fertilizer, we have laboratories that will go and test your soil and give you what kind of fertilizer that you need. Whereas right now, as of today, people use the same fertilizer for maize, for rice, for sugar, you know, so they don't actually differentiate, including the type of soil that you have.
So this issue of best practice, why don't you produce a case study or something useful? You've been through that, and let us, other African countries, appreciate how to do it. Because we need to replicate what you have done there in other countries as well. Or you plan to do it all by yourself?
No.
Okay, so you're going to allow other people. So why don't you really let people know, here is how to do it. And,
that is one of the reasons why when you look at it, I do travel, very often to various areas, where I can give a talk, sometimes inside Nigeria, sometimes outside, Nigeria, just tell them that, hey, look, all this thing is a myth. Nothing is impossible. We can really make it happen. We as Africans, we can actually, the issue is that, first of all, we have to understand that there are, in all the countries in the world, whether it's South Korea, Japan, US, those economies were actually built up by their own indigenous. So if we don't lead in Africa...
And agriculture was the basis of the development of many of these countries.
Pardon me?
Agriculture was the basis of development of many countries.
Yeah, many of these countries.
It's not backward, as people think.